Let's have a look at how to synchronize the story points between a Jira issue and an Azure Devops work item. This will be done using the same visual connection that we created in the previous videos. In order to do that, there are two facets to this issue. First, you need to ensure that when a story type is created on the Jira side and it's exalated over to the Azure DevOps side, it becomes a user story, meaning that it should be exalated over as a user story. So we'll configure that first part. And the second part is to actually synchronize these story points over. So let's see how this can be done. Let's start by editing our connection and going to the Rules tab, because it is the synchronization rules that we need to play with in this example. So the first thing we need to do is the issue type mapping to ensure that the story from the Jira side maps to a user story on the Azure DevOps side. In order to show you this example, all I need to do is have a unidirectional synchronization from Jira to Azure DevOps for this field. Now, the only field that I'm interested in is the story on Jira and the corresponding story on the other side. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Now, the second thing is the story points synchronization. For that, you will need to add some script to the sync rules. I'll add the script that will just pick up the story points from the Azure DevOps side, assign it to the Jira side, and vice versa. We can then have a bidirectional synchronization in place. Once you've made these two changes, you can go ahead and publish the connection. Give it a few seconds to complete, and once you've received the confirmation message, you are ready to test it out. Now let's create a story on the Jira side. I'll stick to a bare minimum ticket and I'll exalate it over to the other end. You can either use the manual or the automated way of exhalation. For this video, I'll use the manual. Give it a few seconds to sync over. And remember, I haven't populated the story points field at the moment in our Jira ticket. Once the ticket is synced, a replica will be created on the other side. That's when I will populate these story points on either side and see if the synchronization is working as expected. This is the created work item on the Azure DevOps side, and I'd expect that work item to be of a user story type, which is indeed the case, and it's brought over to the usual fields. So the story points field is what I'm interested in. And because I've got a bidirectional synchronization, if I add 100 points here, this should figure and update back to the Jira side, and the story points field should be populated. Let's switch back to Jira. The story points are visible out here, and since we haven't populated it yet, there are none at the moment. I expect the Azure DevOps update to arrive on this side and populate this field, so I'll just wait a few seconds for that to come over. Alright, as you see, it's now populated to 100, and it goes both ways. So if I change the value on the Jira side, this will sync back to the Azure DevOps side, because we've done a bidirectional synchronization. If you remember, we added 2 lines of code. Now let's do a final check. And that's it! Our bidirectional synchronization is completed.